There are moments in life when fear feels like the only thing we know. It doesn't ask for permission to arrive. It shows up, in our quiet moments, in our thoughts before sleep, in the pit of our stomach before we take a leap. Fear wraps around your chest like a weight. It makes your breathing shallow, your mind noisy. It whispers things like, "You're not ready. You'll fail. They'll laugh at you. What if everything goes wrong?" And in those moments, everything starts to shrink. Our confidence, our hope, our vision of what's possible. Fear has a way of turning the brightest day into a storm cloud. And the strongest person into someone who suddenly feels small. But then, a line from Marie Curie quietly cuts through the noise. Not with force, but with truth. She said, "Nothing in life is to be feared, it is only to be understood." And something about that just lands differently. Because maybe fear isn't the villain. Maybe it's the messenger. Maybe the feeling we run from is actually pointing us toward what still needs healing, or knowing, or loving. You see, fear isn't always loud. Sometimes it's subtle. It can disguise itself as procrastination, overthinking, people-pleasing, perfectionism. It can show up in relationships as walls we build instead of bridges. It can show up in careers as settling instead of growing. It can show up in self-talk as harshness instead of compassion. But when we stop and truly look at it, what we often find underneath fear is a story. A memory. A moment in time when we were hurt, misunderstood, left behind, or not enough. And fear, loyal as it is, remembers that moment. Not to punish us, but to protect us. But here's the problem. Fear protects us from pain, but it also limits our potential. Because when we fear the unknown, we don't explore it. When we fear rejection, we don't speak our truth. When we fear failure, we don't try. And when we fear being seen, we hide, even from ourselves. So what can we do? We can begin to understand. To gently, patiently sit with our fear and ask, what are you trying to tell me? What are you trying to protect? What happened, and how can I care for that version of me now? Maybe the fear of speaking up comes from a time when your voice was dismissed. Maybe the fear of being vulnerable comes from a time you trusted someone who didn't handle your heart with care. Maybe the fear of stepping out is rooted in a past where you failed and felt humiliated. Understanding doesn't mean erasing fear, it means befriending it. It means saying, I see you. I know why you're here. But I'm not that same person anymore. And that shift, that understanding, is where freedom begins. Because when we understand something, we reclaim our power. We move from reactive to responsive. From helpless to aware. From stuck to healing. Understanding is the flashlight that shows us fear is just a shadow. And shadows can't exist without light. So what would it look like? If the next time fear came knocking, you didn't run or numb or pretend. What if you welcomed it like an old teacher? One who's harsh, but honest. And listened? What if, instead of fearing fear, you used it as a compass? Because here's something I've learned in my own journey. The things that scared me the most often held the deepest growth. The conversations I avoided held the breakthroughs I needed. The risks I resisted opened the doors to things I never thought I was worthy of. Fear is not weakness. Fear is your nervous system doing its job. But courage is what we build when we understand it. And choose to keep going anyway. And sometimes, understanding looks like therapy. Sometimes it's journaling, or long walks, or heart-to-hearts with someone who gets it. Sometimes it's silence. Sometimes it's asking hard questions, and sitting with the answers. But every time you choose to understand yourself more, you fear a little less. You walk a little taller. You breathe a little deeper. You begin to trust that you can handle life. Not because it's easy, but because you know yourself more fully. And that is how we grow. That is how we stop merely surviving and start truly living. So here's your invitation. Don't shame your fear. Don't rush to fix it. Just begin to understand it. Because in that understanding, you'll find strength. You'll find compassion. And most importantly, you'll find yourself. And the more you understand, the less you fear. And the less you fear, the more free you become.